meet one woman who has taken her own experience of loss and transformed it into activism to end gun violence.
I love this picture. That's me, and that's my brother Peter. And then I think this is, my parents took us on this cruise down in South America. There's long hair.
Suzanne Verge is showing me photos of her brother Peter, while she tells me the story of when he was 18 years old and at the home of the woman he was dating, when her roommate, who was allegedly paranoid and slept with a gun under his pillow, walked into the living room.
And he came out and he told my brother Peter, "You've got to leave." And Peter said, saw him with the gun, just said, "Just let me get my clothes." And with that, he shot my brother. Then he wrestled, then he turned the gun to shoot the girl Vicky, who my brother was with. He realized what he had done. He dragged my brother's body into the hallway to make it look like a break-in. Fortunately, the other neighbors called the police, but it was too late.
Peter was murdered in 1978, and for many years after his death, Suzanne would send a check here and there to support various gun violence prevention organizations. But it wasn't until the Million Mom March in 2000 that she was compelled to get in the middle of the movement.
There was 2 marches here in Los Angeles, but I had to go to Washington, D.C. I wanted to be the voice for my brother. I remember going to the Million Mom March that Mother's Day. I went by myself, and I'll never forget coming up out of the metro, and there was a sea of people. They said that day there was over 500,000 people. So I realized I wasn't alone. I met so many other people. I met people who only lived a half a mile away from me, who had also experienced the loss. So with that, we all came home and became a grassroots movement.
In 2003, the Brady Campaign and Center to Prevent Gun Violence merged with the Million Mom March to become Brady United Against Gun Violence. There are now 62 chapters across the country and 17 in California, and Suzanne has been the president of the LA chapter since it was founded 23 years ago. The organization's goal is to bring together people of all ages, races, ethnicities, and political affiliations to enact common-sense solutions to end America's gun violence epidemic.
It's the gun manufacturers telling you, you don't need one gun, you need many guns, and you should live in fear. And that's what I'm upset about. I think we hear those stories of kids pulling into a driveway, lost. These people see somebody in their driveway, they've been sold fear, and what do? They go for their gun because they've been sold fear. So that's what I'm upset about, is this fear-mongering.
Suzanne's work as the LA chapter president is oftentimes emotionally and mentally exhausting. Here she is organizing cards for a vigil acknowledging the 102 people who die every day in this country due to guns. But Suzanne channels her own personal grief and loss into helping others.
I can take this wound and I can talk to others, educate others. I belong to a club that nobody wants to belong to. Our numbers continue to grow, and it's just awful.
You watch on the news and hear stories, it's almost become a daily thing in this country, of another person or a number of people getting shot and killed. What is your reaction when you see that again and again and knowing that another family has joined the club that you don't want to be a part of?
It's so heart-wrenching, and it's when you hear the news. In the past, I used to say, like, we're going to organize a vigil, like, let's do something to reach out. We're beyond vigils. Now it's like, we got to raise a protest. We got to be down there and just saying, this is not right, this is not acceptable, and raise our voices.
Suzanne's son and daughter have participated in gun reform marches and rallies alongside their mother their entire lives. And the family's activism has just grown over the years as gun violence numbers have climbed. Does it scare you in terms of what's happening now?
I'll never be scared. The worst has already happened. What else could happen? My brother was already murdered. To me, it's worth it to be out there in the fight.
And for someone like you who has been directly impacted by it and your passion, I can feel it just hearing your stories.
Oh, don't mess with me. Don't mess with me. I've had them with their assault rifles in my face. And I'm like shaking, but I am like not backing down. I am not backing down. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so you got to, it's worth it. This is when they were bringing assault weapons into Starbucks, and they had their ammunition on one side and their assault weapons, and it was just crazy.
According to the CDC, 8 in 10 murders involve a firearm. And in 2021, there were over 15,000 more gun deaths in the U.S. than a decade before. But Suzanne says over the last 20 years in California, as more gun laws have been enacted, the homicide and suicide rates have gone down considerably. However, for those working to end gun violence, there is still a lot of work to be done.
We all come together for certain things, whether it has to be going down to City Hall or even at the LA Board of Supervisors. It's hard work, it's emotional, but it's the most important work I know I will ever do.